Hello, I'm Nadia Bilchik, and welcome to another episode of Career Caffeine. And this is a Career Caffeine with a big difference because I am interviewing none other than my nephew, the very accomplished Joshua Bilchik. And accomplished at what you might ask, various things, including the fact that he is an expert rower. He is also a financial planner with Morgan Stanley. So, Josh Bilchik, welcome to Career Caffeine.
Oh, thank you, Nadia.
So, Josh, what I'm intrigued by is I have watched you row, and row as in competitive rowing, like row the boat, correct? So I thought it would be interesting to have a conversation about what your life as a competitive rower has taught you. So why don't you share some of the experiences you've had and what you feel you've learned in your years and years and years of competitive rowing?
Great, yeah. I think I have to start with, I began rowing back in high school in my junior year. Before that, I played soccer and volleyball, sports that were actually fun. And I switched to rowing. I think I immediately fell in love with it because it's a sport that, above anything, rewards hard work. You can be a talentless oaf, and as long as you put your head down and close your eyes and just pull for a very long time on a machine that doesn't really entertain you, you'll be successful. And I think that's what I loved, is the pure hard work aspect of it. And I think obviously everyone speaks about hard work being a complete differentiator. Everyone says I work hard. I think that rowing in particular, it's just a tangible thing. Every single day, you're on the erg, on the boat, in the water, pulling hard with a heart rate accelerated. You're getting better. And
so lesson number one is just the repetition of the hard work and the dedication.
Yeah. Close your eyes, as I guess the famous Irish double, very much like to coin, just close your eyes and pull like a dog.
Oh, is that what he said? And of course, Malcolm Gladwell in Outlier said if you practice something enough times, he's given it something like 10,000 hours, you will master it. So for you, just the discipline and the hard work, and how have you applied that to your career?
So absolutely, it's the discipline. I'd say the most valuable, carryover between being on the water and training and the professional career is the time management aspect of everything. When you're training twice a day, 4 or 5 hours a day, and you have a a full-time job, you have to be very efficient and directed in what you do, and you have to be very planful, and everything that you're doing then has a purpose.
Now, you are probably one of the younger financial planners in terms of saving and hard work. And is there some sacrifice involved, do you think, in being financially secure as we get older, if you do it now while you're younger?
So I think what you'll see starting to kind of proliferate the advertisements or ads you see online, or that the earlier you start planning for sounds silly at my age at 23, but the earlier you start planning for retirement, the better you will be.
I think you're definitely the youngest person we've had on Career Caffeine, and certainly probably one of the most athletic. Let's get to the aspect that I notice when I watch you rowing and you see you and your boatmates. Is that the correct term?
Yeah.
Okay. Pulling together. In terms of teamwork, what do you feel rowing has taught you?
Yeah, rowing is absolutely the ultimate team sport. The only way you'll go fast is if you're doing everything in perfect synchronicity with the rest of your boat. If you're in a 2-person, 4-person, 8-person boat, or even if you're by yourself, your left and your right arms have to be completely in sync. The great thing about it is you're directly behind or in front of your teammate in a straight line, and you can see them. You can see at the catch at the front of the stroke when they're about to put the oar in the water and they start pulling. You can see the muscles on their back and their lats just seize up, and that they're working exactly as hard as you are. And it's a magical thing because it's a sport that on the outside it looks beautiful. I think it's the most beautiful sport in the world to watch. But the strife and the pain in the boat is something that isn't seen except by your teammates who are in the boat with you who know exactly what you're going through because they're going through the same thing.
Now that you're working in a corporate environment, what, again, and I'm so curious because you have had such success as a rower, what do you feel you've been able to apply from that to being now in a corporate environment where playing well with others, working well with others is equally critical?
Absolutely, and I would say that this applies to pretty much every sport, every team in general, is that you start to understand that what everyone's best at, what their strengths are. You have guys in the rowing shell. I like to make, when I'm speaking with clients or with prospects, I like to make an analogy to the rowing shell. You've got your guys in the front of the boat who set a great rhythm. They're very consistent, and that can be the fixed income part of your portfolio. You're going to get the same thing every month. That's something you understand. You got your big power guys in the middle of the boat. That can be your equities, things like that. So I love creating an analogy between that, and then specifically within the workplace, it's understanding who we're fortunate to have the resources of a massive firm, and you start to understand, okay, which teams are better at which, and you just reach out, and they're always more than willing to help.
The other thing that strikes me, having watched your career as a rower and as a financial planner with interest, is there are times where you win and there are times when you lose. Let's talk about those moments of loss and what you feel, because, Josh, in my work as a professional speaker and trainer, I see that what really sets people apart is resilience. There is nobody who is immune from loss, from pain, from things not going their way. And my observation is people who can bounce back, do better in life and their careers. On a personal level, what does that mean for you?
Yeah, everything's relative, of course. I think in the grand scheme of things, I've had a very fortunate, very easy life. But from my perspective, in a vacuum, nothing has ever come easy. And I have lost so many more times than I've won, because you're going to lose essentially in everything. You're going to lose until you win. And, in rowing, it was loss after loss and slowly getting better and better until you get that win, and then you start winning. And the same in business. You're going to get so many more no's. In my industry especially, you're going to get so many more no's, and I'm not interested until you get a yes. And I guess what rowing has taught me is every no, this is very cliche, but it is very true, is that every no gets you closer to a yes.
And the ability to not see the no or the one loss as a failure, but to continue. So Josh Bilchik, on two levels, if we want to hire you as a financial planner and if we want to reach you, where do we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a phone number, desk number. I'm always at my desk, and that, 617-589-3210. And then I'm always on email, and that's
which
just
is?
Josh, Josh.Bilchik, Bilchik, and at morganstanley.com.
And in terms of seeing you rowing, do we see you in action? For people who are interested in watching you rowing or watching a race, is there a way we can do that?
Absolutely. So, U.S. Rowing, which is the governing body of rowing in the United States, has started to create a better and better infrastructure for live streaming and footage, with the proliferation of and betterment of the drone technology. They now have drones that will videotape and follow races. So, and a lot of the races I participated in, trials, literally just called Trials 1, Trials 2, Trials 3, are video live streamed on the U.S. Rowing website. There's Head of the Charles, which is a much more famous race, which is always live streamed on the Head of the Charles website. And then, should I be fortunate and win some trials races, I'll be off to some country abroad for the World Championships, which gets live streamed on the World Championships website.
Well, Josh Bilchik, we look forward here at Career Caffeine at looking at your career go from strength to strength. And just next time anybody watches a rowing race, just looking at it differently and just seeing what you've learned. And thank you for sharing your wisdom and insight with us. And one final piece of advice that you have to any person who is embarking on their careers now and who perhaps is going through a tough time. Final bit of guidance from you.
Yeah, I would say there are so many people doing the same exact thing and to varying degrees of success, and that's great. But there's a human element to everything, and there's always room to be creative. And I mean, that's just how I ended up in this job, was I found a creative way to get noticed.
And what you don't know about Josh Bilchik, other than being a rower, he is also a very talented ceramicist. So, Josh, we look forward to joshbilchik.com, ceramics, financial planning, and rowing, and what you've learned from all three. Thank you so much for taking time to give us your advice, guidance, and insights into adding some career caffeine to your day. I'm Nadia Bilchik, in conversation with Joshua Bilchik. It's been a pleasure, Josh. And to all of you, stay listening to our podcast. Please subscribe. You can reach me on nadiaspeaks.com.